Good morning, and share this video if possible. This is Clarissa Pace, President of Drew County NAACP, Branch 6042, and this will be my first episode of Chronicles with President Pace. So that means I'm going to go from my car, and share my thoughts to encourage you on a number of things, but I want to start this particular time because it is crucial. Okay, so I want you to share. As a matter of fact, let's see. Yes, I will share afterwards. But listen, I wanted to come on and let you know that it is critical and crucial that we get in the game of voting. Many of us don't understand that this process is necessary for change. It's necessary for continuation as well. So we've had meetings where professionals, political professionals who study these things, who have data, have announced to us on several times, number one, that Arkansas has the lowest voter turnouts, and Southeast Arkansas has the lowest turnouts in races, whether they are local, state, or national. We continue to sink out of the race, which means to me our voice is of naught, has no power at this point, because voting is power. What do you do, or what are you saying when you say voting is power? We get a chance to go to the polls, and whether you're pulling a lever or you are shading spots for the candidate of your choice, you get to say that this person represents more of my mindset, more of my heart, more of my issues than anyone else, and I want them in place. Sometimes we vote because of different parties, and so we choose our party. Sometimes we vote based on the nationality. Sometimes we vote depending on the economic status. But nonetheless, I've learned in politics, sometimes we don't vote because of the intimidation. You see different people, different parties, different political parties, different genders, different socioeconomic groups. They come together. Okay, that's the key. Together, they come together and they begin to make big noise, great noise, because they want the candidate of their choice in place. So they make so much noise that it intimidates the individual person who's not a part of anything, not a part of any organization, not claiming any party, or just distracted in life. And therefore, we choose not to become a part of the process, because what I hear a lot of time is, it's not going to help anyway. They're going to win anyway. Well, first of all, you vote because it's your right. There were people who lost their lives so that we could have a vote. And this is multicultural. There were even genders, women. We could not vote. We could not hold leadership. Certainly African Americans could not hold leadership. You had to pay a poll tax to even vote. It's crazy what the history, or the long line of history, that has suffered to help us become a nation of people who had rights. But then that nation of people now are so distracted by life circumstances, by lifing. I would say a great deal of social media distraction, several things, distracted by doing certain things that distract you. Okay, I'm trying to be nice, but people are distracted by, I don't know, drug activities, just simply partying and looking good, and just, what is it? It is a number of things that I have not done a survey on, but it's just my opinion, because you hear people, I do hear a certain amount of people say, I don't even know where to go vote. I don't know when to vote. Oh, did I miss the vote? Let me tell you an experience I had during an election. I was stopping a person walking down the street, and I said to that individual, would you like to come over to the polls and vote? That individual said to me, it's not going to make a difference. And I said to them, how did you arrive at that idea? What caused you to think that? Because my vote doesn't count. It doesn't change anything. So that person was coming from the store, walking. And I said, okay, can I see your receipt? On the receipt, there were sales tax. And I said, they're local taxes. And I said, do you like those taxes on those groceries like that? No, that's too much. Yada, 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 yada. And I said, well, that's where your vote would count. Locally and state legislatures set this amount. They set the rates. But if you don't get anybody in there that agrees with you, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. And I'm just going to say, I'm taking a risk because many people love, and I ain't going nowhere, but Arkansas legislature overall is almost, well, there are other states I know of, Texas, and so they operate as independent states, and their people hurt. But if we don't stand up and begin to become candidates, get involved in the voting system, just posting our disgruntled ideas and complaining, it's not going to make a difference at all. Not one difference at all. Because there are some ideas that we have on the above level that would make us all out here begging. We'll all be beggars. No money, no help for those who are less fortunate than we are. And that mindset will run through here. And believe it or not, when you are not in the voting system, the people, the powers that be know that. So they become arrogant. They become personal. It's not about your welfare or my welfare. That's where politics gets sticky, because it's about a particular family, about a particular party, just having a win, knowing that candidates should not be in office. But I'm going to stick here because that gives all of us a win. That gives our organization a win. Right now, the NAACP has been fighting redistricting. But there's a such thing as gerrymandering. That's placing a certain group of people all in one area when they're mapping how we vote. And what happens in African Americans is that they'll place us in one area so we can vote for another African American, but in the other area, we won't have a voice, which may have the biggest area, carry the biggest turnout, and have the biggest influence. Yes, that happens. And the only way that's going to change is that our mindset changes. Where do we start, people? We got to start somewhere. Number one, you start with your children in the house. I don't care what your economic status is. The one thing you can make a difference in is voting. You know, I think about several things. For instance, people are always talking about Social Security. What's going to happen to my Social Security? Well, you got to vote because there are people that's making decisions over there. Thankfully, Social Security increased. Okay? But guess what? The very person that started to recognize these issues are the people that other people hated on one issue, which was President Obama. Because we did not know I didn't agree with all of the platform, but there are things that are happening right now because they were set in motion. And then your other President Trump, he tried to stop as much of it as possible. Why? Why? Because we didn't look the same. People, you have got to get involved. So start, number one, with your children. I remember in class talking about voting in elementary school. I remember at home, my mom talking about voting. Just as clear as day, I can remember coloring books, coloring sheets of the judicial system, understanding the three judicial systems and how the government was structured. That's where it starts. Start when your child is in school and the teachers are teaching the system. Make it important to them. I don't care who you are. Sit them in front of the television. Let them watch. Turn the CNN. Let them see some of the politics so it gets in their heart. And then when there are opportunities to send them to things like when my son was a teenager in school and they would get certain invitation to go to Washington, D.C. and these things, you may not have the funds right off, but do a fundraiser so they can understand. Now, let's go past that. So perhaps there's a generation who your home has not been taught. So now we're Generation X. We are young adults, anywhere from 18 to 40. You are missing in the race. I don't know what is distracting you. I don't know if hair, nails, eyelashes, looking good on social media is more important than making decisions. I don't know. There's a possibility. But whatever your distraction is, we need you up and we need you voting. Southeast Arkansas. You need to be heard. Somebody's calling. You need to be heard. And there's no reason to be out of the race. So you cannot sign anyone up to vote in this upcoming election. But those of you who have not voted, but you are a registered voter, you need to set your calendar. Start looking. We have been posting things right here on our Facebook page so you can see the candidates. Introducing the candidates. You can look it up online to see what their platform. It's not hard. All candidates going to deal with taxes. They're going to deal with education. They're going to probably deal with church. They're going to deal with what do you call it? Whether or not they support LGBT, abortion, those things, you know what you feel about that. Job, economic status, that's what they're going to talk about. It's not hard. I'll come back on another Chronicle and I'll go in detail. You think that you can't understand these things, but you will be able to understand them, okay? You don't have to be a political guru to understand politics and what is before you. I just found that out for real, though. I ain't playing in my position. So I'm not playing. There are some things that I understand. Water irrigation, these things, infrastructure, these things you can understand. And we're going to keep coming on because we're going to keep teaching you about these things and how to recognize and choose the candidate for you that best fits you. But in all means, we're starting now. Find out where your polls are. Find out if your addresses are correct. Telephone numbers, names, all of these things. Find out everything at your city clerk's office about your registration and where you need to go so that you can be in the number. This is a Southeast Arkansas call. Southeast Arkansas, let's stand up. It's time. All right, this has been episode 1 of Car Chronicles with President Clarissa Pace, Drew County NAACP Branch 6042. I'll see you on the next one.